Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first hardcore podcast. This is Arten Ransk. I play hardcore games on Twitch and YouTube, usually with only one life to live, trying to entertain people and make them laugh along the way. And I had the idea to all of a sudden start doing a podcast that people could listen to for even more fantastic content. So this is going to be the first one, obviously, and I'm going to go over what the format is and everything for this, and how exactly it's going to pan out and everything. Certain times I will hopefully have people from maybe stream come in and they can talk, and friends from my, friends from my previous life, friends from my life, my real life that I actually have outside of making content. The point is, every aspect that I do in content creation usually involves the listener or the people who actually listen to it. I'm really bad at this. I want all of my content creation to be interactive. So in Twitch, I make it so people can, obviously chat with me, and I try to talk to them as much as possible. I constantly get comments saying, you're the most interactive streamer that I've talked to and whatnot. And I don't mean to blow my own horn or anything, but it's what I feel is the most important and unique thing about what I'm doing. If I'm going to be making content that people can watch and listen to, I'm not that much different from anybody else. But if I'm making content that people can watch and listen and actually shape themselves, that's a lot more unique. Anyway, that's enough blabbering about that. It's just flauntless self-masturbation. Who cares, right? So the format for this is, I love games. I play games for Twitch and YouTube. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to talk about a game every single week, or every other week. I have yet to decide how the scheduling for this is going to go, but it's going to be either every week, every other week. But I'm going to talk about one game every week, and I'm going to talk about how it ties into like personal experience that I've had, how it's shaped me as a person, because games are this sort of beautiful. Some of them are, I would consider some games as art. Not the one I'm going to really talk about today so much. Well, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Games have this sort of idea of being this moneymaker from certain companies, but really what they are is they are a creative project, just like anything else that I do, or just like anything else that an artist does. They take designers. They take a lot of effort from all the programmers and everything, and they take a great amount of care. Oh God, I remember when I tried to make a game myself, because it inspired me. Playing all these games for so many years, I wanted to be able to make what I had been playing. Obviously, that ended in just absolute catastrophe, because it takes more than, like 2 minutes to learn how to do C++ and then make it so a rat can not kill me after it's already dead, but that's besides the point. The point is that games are this magical medium, and they inspire us just like movies and, good books, good literature. They inspire us, and they cause us to do these great things. And they also give us this departure from reality, which, I'll probably cover in a different podcast. I'm not going to cover it today, but it's kind of an escape, and it's this free place where we're not really using our imagination so much. I mean, I guess I did when I was a kid more, but they just have this alleviating quality where all of a sudden you're free, right? Am I just sounding like an absolute bastard and preacher? I don't mean to. I just want to display how great games are, and I think that they're undervalued a lot. You get all these early access games now where it's, they're looked at as cash grabs. And I'm remembering, or I will explain, and I will try to describe in great detail how certain games, and I'm going to go over one today, how certain games have shaped me growing up and how they've shaped me as a person, because that's what they can do. That's how powerful they are. Jesus H. Christ, that was a mouthful. Okay, so the topic for today, and I'm sure some of you, at least from Twitch and whatnot, are going to go giddy over this. The game that we'll be talking about today is Skyrim. And this is a loaded one for me because I used a lot of it for Twitch. This is kind of what... I'm not big on Twitch by any means. I'm not even close. But this is the game that helped me get bigger than what I was when I first started. This is kind of... It built a very small community about what I do. So what I'm going to be tying in is Skyrim and the search for fame. How human beings, at least in America, I can't speak, and I can't speak for anyone but myself. But I'm just going to talk about, obviously, Skyrim, and how, in a way, it's tied in with me searching for fame. It's gonna be a difficult process to do, but I'm gonna tackle it, and you're gonna be amazed, and it's not gonna be a total waste of your time, I promise. So let's just start with Skyrim. I'll start all games that I talk about with a little background, how I first found out about them, and, how they've eked their way into my life, and then everything from there. So a brief history on Skyrim. It came out in, November 11th, 2011. It was a Saturday, I remember that. And before we even get to that, I hadn't even heard of Skyrim. I had just started college, and I hadn't even heard of Skyrim until maybe a week beforehand. It was, because I was in college. I remember being in piano class, and everyone's talking about this game, Skyrim, and I'm just like, what are you guys talking about? They're talking about they're so excited for it coming out on Saturday and whatnot. I was just like, what are you guys talking about? And they're just like, oh well, it's the new Elder Scrolls game, and I had played Oblivion, but that was a long time ago. That was like 2006. I was a wee lad in middle school, I think. That was one of the first PC games that I played, but that's not the one we're talking about. So, they're talking about it. I didn't even know about it until a week before. So I wasn't hyped for it. I hadn't been hyped for months and months about it like some people had. But I got home from class, or back to my dorm. I got back to my dorm from class, looked it up, and I'm looking at it, and I'm seeing all the trailers with the dragons swooping in and the magic and everything. And, this is my kind of game. RPGs where you can level up, run around, kill things. I'm not really a big role-playing guy, like run around, I am Hulk, cannot do anything that would be too intelligent for me. I just like running around, good gameplay that's fun, it's what Skyrim is. It's not the best RPG per se. It's not like Morrowind. Everyone says that Skyrim's an action game. I'm getting way ahead of myself here. Anyway, I come home and I read all about it, and I get hyped about it just a week before it comes out. So it comes out on Saturday at midnight, which I don't know, would that be Saturday at midnight or Friday at midnight? It's, between Friday and Saturday at midnight, the beginning of Saturday. You guys know what the hell I'm talking about, right? Please, for the love of God, tell me you do. So I have it pre-downloaded because it was one of the things that you could do. You could pre-download these games. So it's pre-downloaded, and right when it comes out on Saturday, I play it, and I play it for probably 3.5 hours. I play until 3:30 in the morning or something like that, and I had to actually stop because my girlfriend lived back in Kalamazoo, and I was in Lansing in Michigan. So it was I took the train to see her. It was about an hour and a half train ride or something like that, but I had to get up super early in the morning to get on the train, so I think I had to get up at like 6:30 because I had to walk to the train station and whatnot. So I actually had to cut my gaming session short on that first night because I had to go see her, and then I could not play it until I got home, or back to the dorm, which was on Sunday night. So I got to play Skyrim for the first time on Saturday at midnight until 3:30 or whenever. And then I couldn't play until Sunday at night when I got home. And I still had to do all my homework and everything. But when I got back, I didn't do my fucking homework. I played Skyrim because I was having so much fun, and you could escape into this realm that was totally fantastic, and you have magic, and it was all new. That's the best part about getting new games. It's new, right? Especially big games that you don't know too much about. It's the sense of discovery and, being surprised by things. And it's going to be difficult the further down the line we get, because more and more games and art in general, it's going to be harder to come up with new things. You're starting to see, I don't want to point fingers or anything, but I'm about to. Black Ops or any Call of Duty things. I mean, they're not the only ones who are guilty of this, but games are starting to double back on themselves, and they're just starting to be rehashed formulas of things. It's not new, and you kind of lose that sense of wonder. And that detracts from a game by so much. Because opening a game and installing it, God, I'm really dating myself by saying that you actually get them on, CDs, and obviously there's stuff before that as well, but getting a game for the first time and playing it and having absolutely no idea, and I have a better relation to this with a different game. I won't go over it in Skyrim today, but having it so all of a sudden these games are becoming money-making machines instead of this form of art and discovery and whatnot, it's really detracting from how everyone views them. We're starting, I think we are, unless it's just because, the internet and all of a sudden all this information is piled together and it's easier for people to talk to each other. But I think what's happening is, since games are starting to just be more of this money-making machine, which, they were always there to make money, right? But you'd have games that companies would make and they'd put their hearts into, and you'd really get something magical out of it, something new and exciting. I don't mean to say that games were just like this, God-given thing, or this wonderful, wonderful thing that is totally immune to, the financial system of capitalism and blah, blah, blah. No, I couldn't even begin to defend that or describe it, as I'm doing so horribly right now. What I'm trying to say is, I think that the further down the line we've come, it's started to, people are eating each other. It's more about this competition and more about making money, especially with these early access games. You hear about a lot of early access games, all these survival wilderness games and whatnot, that are pretty much the same thing, right? I mean, I'm not the only one that thinks that. You fucking wake up on a beach or a desert or an ice place, and you try to survive by finding food, chopping down things, and there's some sort of crafting in it. So you kind of look at it as just a way to make money. Like, these people they're just trying to cash in on something that's big right now, right? And that sucks, right? It's really bad. Because being younger, and maybe it's just because I'm disillusioned, boring adult now with gray pubes and everything, but being younger and opening up those first games and playing Skyrim is a fantastic, fantastic experience. And all of a sudden being disillusioned and disappointed by buying a game and just finding out that it's the same thing and that the devs don't really care, it's sad. I mean, there's kind of a problem with the way that early access works now as well, because when you would buy a game when you were younger, like Skyrim, or even earlier, I can't remember when early access was a thing. I think Minecraft did it, which, yeah, I'm not going to talk about Minecraft today, but early access kind of did this thing where, at least for me, I can't speak for other people, but for me, when I see an early access game and I've bought an early access game, I play it for a little bit, I go, okay, that's interesting, but I want to see how it finishes. And when it is finished, which it takes forever for them to finish because, early access is like 2 years ahead of release or something like that. But when it is finished, I don't feel a sense of, okay, this is really something fantastic. It's just kind of like, instead of getting this huge slap to the face of, here's the game, be impressed, it's just like, it's eking out and it's kind of prolonging this sense of wonderment. You're not even really getting wonderment from it, I don't think. Because getting Skyrim, I mean, probably the greatest gift for me about Skyrim was not knowing about it until a week before it came out, and then getting super hyped on my own after watching all the trailers and everything a week in advance, not waiting for 6 months or I don't even know how far ahead of schedule they announced it, but not being aware of the schedule and how it was going to be affected, and not listening to forums and whatnot. I really don't like forums, honestly. I feel like the vocal minority of negativity, it negatively affects how you think about games and a lot of things, honestly. It screws with how I feel about, movies or TV shows that I like, because you'll see someone that doesn't like it, and it'll kind of infect you like a seed, like you're in Inception or something like that. All of a sudden, Leonardo DiCaprio will jump inside your brain and he'll be like, no, you don't really like this. You thought you did, but you see how this one person points this out? You don't really like that. And I don't know if you guys feel that way, but I honestly try to avoid forums where it's discussing how they feel about things. Reviews are great because you are spending money to buy, a $60 Skyrim game. You want to know if your investment's going to be worth it. Especially with early access and all this thing. What a poisonous thing early access is. I mean, it's nice to be able to have it so developers can get their game out and try to get attention on it, but there's so many negative things that come with it too. Whatever, I'm not talking about early access. I'm fucking talking about Skyrim. What the hell was I even saying? I don't know. Somebody come in here and slap me in the head. Anyway, you're about to spend $60, and it's probably going to go up more, but you're about to spend $60 of your money that you've earned on something that you don't know much about, so you want to look into reviews and whatnot. It's a tightrope, I feel, when I'm looking something up, and I want to make sure that I know that it's going to be worth my money to buy a new game, but not to spoil anything about it. And really, discovering things on your own is one of the best ways to get the most out of a game. But I think that it's fallen on its head now. I don't remember looking up... God, I was going to save talking about Oblivion. I'll just talk about it very, very quickly. I remember seeing an Oblivion ad in, Target? I don't know. But it was a poster of the Cyrodiil Guard, and it said Oblivion on it, and I said, Dad, I want that game. That's all the research I needed. It was advertisement. I was younger. It wasn't my money, so it's totally different. And then I was introduced to this wonderful world of Oblivion and Cyrodiil, and that was my first Elder Scrolls game. It was a fantastic game. It's a two-edged sword. I mean, you want to know that you're about to buy a great game, and you don't want to waste your money, but you're going to kind of ruin it in the process. But anyway, I'm not even supposed to be talking about this. I'm supposed to be talking about the search for fame with Skyrim. So, with Skyrim, you have this beautiful kind of sandbox world, and people call it as vast as an ocean and as shallow as a puddle. Yeah, I suppose I could see that as being true, because, they tried to make it so you have these infinite quests with the Radiant Quest system, but they just ended up being, how good can you do with just rehashed quests? It was, go find this, go kill this bandit, come back, get paid, and that's it, and then, you'd get another one the next day. So you have all this content in Skyrim, which some of the quests I thought were good. The main quest line there was exciting things to do, and questline. Oh god, that's a whole nother thing I can get into. How writing in games has changed over the years, and how my imagination as a person doesn't rely on me coming up with something good, but it relies on the developer coming up with good material, which is a damn shame, because that used to be the most fun that I used to have in games, but I'll talk about that with a different game later on. So Skyrim, you have vast as an ocean, as shallow as a puddle, but you have a very fun system. You know, I've played 1,000 hours of it from all the Twitch streaming and all this sorts of stuff, and the mods, mods are a wonderful thing, and paid mods I would love to talk about, but we're not going to do it today. We're talking about... what am I talking about? Where am I? What am I doing? We're talking about the search for fame. As human beings, for myself, I've recently come upon a discovery that, for those who don't know me, I moved out to New Jersey and New York City by proxy, so I could try to get into acting. And I wanted to get into acting for, I believe, the wrong reasons. And because of that, I've had to rethink a lot of what I'm doing. I actually stopped streaming and I stopped producing content because I wanted to get into acting. I thought it was easier to get into acting and to become famous from doing this than streaming. And I have a problem with this. Not like I have a problem with it not being easy. I have a personal problem with this. It's an issue that I need to work out with myself. I want to say flawed goals. I want to become famous at something, but that's not a good goal to have. You can become famous or infamous just as easily as you can become famous just by doing something stupid. You know, people come out and do shootings or whatever. That's an easy way to get infamous, but I don't want that. I want to be known for being good at something. So I've kind of ruined myself by going after acting, which I've discovered wonderfully is this beautiful, beautiful artwork that takes a lot of work, an insane amount of work, and I'm happy that I've discovered that it's this excellent art form, and I've found a lot more respect towards actors, good actors, that is. Towards bad actors, I just laugh at them now. But one of the questions in acting, you know, I came in and I talked to my teacher. She said, "Why do you want to do this?" I kind of told the truth. I said, I want to be good at something, and I don't want to be famous for just being an actor. I want to be famous for being good at being an actor, you know, being the best I can be and working as hard as possible and then getting the fame from that. And then I proceeded to go through, 3 months of depression and emotional anguish because I was a Meisner school, or it is a Meisner school. It's a fantastic Meisner school, I should add. But the way that this work opened me up emotionally destroyed me. I couldn't handle it. And I had to ask myself, because one of the books that my teacher didn't recommend, but she asked us to read, was called Letters to a Poet by Rainier Wilkie. I should probably actually look that up and say it, but I'm not going to. So she recommended me to read this book, Letters to a Poet, and it has to deal with being an actor. No, I'm sorry. It has to deal with being a poet. But it's in the same sense of being an artist. And I will tie this together with Skyrim. Maybe in, like, I don't know, when I'm dead, but I will tie this together. So I read this book, Letters to a Poet, and it asks a very vital question. It says, do you have to be a poet in the book? But it's just saying, do you have to do your creative outlet as a career to live? Do you have to be an actor to live happily for the rest of your life? And that question haunted me. You know, I read it like the first, she recommended that early in the class. So I read that in the first week of class, and I went, okay, you know, I kind of deluded myself. I listened to it, and I read that, and I was just like, yeah, I do. I do have to be an actor to be happy for the rest of my life, to really fulfill myself. And then the further I got, I went, no, I don't think I do. Because the great thing about this acting school is it teaches you to be truthful. This specific acting school, not all of them do this, but it teaches you to be truthful, and it says that every lie that you make, even in real life, degrades your ability to act truthfully, which makes you a worse actor. So I find it hard to lie now, honestly. People ask me questions, and I cannot answer them, but it's difficult for me to lie. So when I'm thinking to myself, do I have to do this to be happy? I thought, no, I don't. I don't have to do this. I have to be creative. That I know. But to be an actor, no. So this sense of fame, and this ties back into Skyrim because I had been playing Skyrim for 5 months. I'd been playing it for 5 months on Twitch, and I had been getting, I would say, a good amount of followers. Oh man, yeah, I remember the days that I would get like 100 followers on Twitch, and I would be getting all these donations and everything, and I would think, wow, this is great, but my God, I'm getting so fed up with this game. And I think therein lies the crux of the matter. People want to be famous, right? Some people do. I won't say it about everyone. People who want to be famous, at least me, I should always only speak for myself. I shouldn't say about other people. I don't know. For me, I want to be famous, but I don't want to work for it, right? Maybe it's because I'm a millennial. I hate that word so much. I think I would be defined as a millennial, though. I don't know. I'm born in 92. Is that a millennial? God, I hope not. But maybe it's just because millennials, it's all about that instant gratification and whatnot. You want to be able to, well, yeah, that's another thing. You want to be able to be good at something or be able to get something as quickly as possible. You don't want to put in the effort. You just want to be, bam, done. I'm as good as I can get. I'm perfect at what I do. That's not how it works. And the way that I had set myself up with streaming and with acting was I wanted to be perfect just when I started. And I poured too much of myself into both facets, and I burnt myself out after a short period of time. And I don't think that's how it works. To really become great at something and therein finding fame, if you're good at something, honestly, I think you will be recognized. If you write a fantastic, beautiful symphony, you will be recognized, right? Unless you don't show it to anyone. I mean, you got to show it to people, but you will receive recognition. Maybe it'll be after you're dead, so it won't really matter, but you will receive recognition. So I had expected to gain the benefits before I had even put the work in. Yeah? I had been worried about numbers and getting the results before worrying about the process. And the process is the most rewarding experience. Seeing how you've changed, I go back and I watch my YouTube videos and I see how through how long did I do it? 2 months? 3 months on YouTube? You can see how I get better at speaking. Some of you may think that I'm a drivelous old fool, but I get better. I get better at editing. I change things around. I make them more aesthetically pleasing. I get better. That's the process. I wasn't focused on the process, though. I was focused on the results of going, I need more subscribers. I need more followers. I need more, donations because I want to live off of this. And the danger of wanting to live off of a passion, your hobby, is you kind of expect to get those results because, you know, you have to live, you have to pay bills and buy food and all this stuff. So it's a poisonous, I keep saying poisonous, I need to come up with a different word, but it's a tricky slope focusing on, I need results now, instead of, I need to just think about getting better. So Skyrim, I've played for 5 months, and I got, you know, I played it a lot, and I got burnt out on it, obviously. I played it, especially since I played it hardcore. You know, I died, and I do the same thing over and 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 over. You know, we do Bleak Falls, which is the first dungeon. I'd do that again and again and again and again, and it would turn into comedy for viewers and whatnot, and they would still watch you. I mean, people would watch me doing this for 5 months, which is insane, let alone me playing it for 5 months. But people weren't even playing it. They were just living vicariously through me, which I suppose is a good thing, right? It kind of shows that people are always interested in what you're doing, even if you're doing the same thing, as long as it's good, right? Or maybe it's just because I'm horrible? No. But I did the same thing over and over so much that it just wore me down. And I don't want to be known for being a one-trick pony. I want to be known for being good at a lot of things now. And I might be spreading myself too thin. I might be worrying about results, honestly. I mean, this podcast, it's not... I mean, I don't know. What do you expect from podcasts? Do people expect to get famous from podcasts? I don't. I'm doing this because I want another form of content that I can put out for people. I like making things, and that was a good discovery for me when I was going through my acting gist. And by no means am I done with acting, but I found out for myself that I have to create things for my whole life. I knew that beforehand, but I have to create things to be happy. I don't have to act, but I have to create things. So I can spread myself out and, you know, bounce back and forth and be happy. I could do stand-up comedy. I could do music. I could do these podcasts. I could do YouTube videos. I could do Twitch. I could do even more things. I'd love to be in a band. I have all these really great things that I can do to keep myself entertained and to keep myself fresh instead of doing the same thing over and over again. And then fame just comes on its own. If you deserve it, I guess you get it. Well, I suppose people who don't even deserve it get it, but it's not a great thing to dwell on, I find. It's just not worth it. And that brings up a couple problems with, like, my life views. I had really screwed myself, I believe, in the setup of... I had mentioned this before, but the way that, you know, I was looking at the results, not the process. But my life views were skewed. You know, I had, like, this big goal. I was just like, okay, I'm going to be such a good actor that I'm going to get, you know, an Oscar. That's my end goal. You know, that's like the biggest famous thing that you can get, right? Yes, but it's also supposed to be recognition of how good you are at something. So, again, I've said this about 1,000,000 times. I'll say it one more time. It's not about being famous. It's about being good enough to be recognized, I feel. So you have Skyrim, a game, which is fantastic, and people still play it, and they've played it for thousands of hours. And it's good enough to be recognized, right? I've spent 1,000 hours of my life playing this because, first of all, because I've had a tremendous amount of fun with it. The main point that I'm going after here, though, even though I'm just babbling like a fool, is that these fantastic games, used for now in totally different media settings, you know, it's not so much about playing games now as it is all of a sudden now they're used in esports, which I think is fantastic. They're used in esports. They're used in streams. They're used in all these different, you know, pop culture references and everything. They've spread out into a much larger category of interest, which is good. It's good that they've expanded instead of just being known as a form of entertainment. And there are games that are looked at as art. Like, Oh, God. I can't remember that one name. It's not the Talos Principle. It's the one that was made by the people who made the Stanley's Parable, right? It was the one after that. I watched that and I said, wow, that's a really cool game. I don't want to spoil anything, but it was about the journey of someone who was making games and debating with like all of these. It just had so many layers. It's a fantastic game. You should play that. But that's a sort of art style game. And since games are being used for all these different media purposes, and they're being diluted, as now it's going to be, people want to use them as careers, I use them as careers because I love them as a hobby. And people want to get famous off of YouTube. It is a huge, huge, huge industry making Let's Plays. My God, there are so many people who make Let's Plays. It's easy to jump into. That's another problem with Let's Plays. That is a problem with Let's Plays. Easy to jump into. People are trying to take the easiest way to get big and famous. They want to be the next PewDiePie, they want to be the next Yogscast, and I'm not going to say that I didn't want to do that, and I don't still want to do that. I still have that wish. I mean, who wouldn't want that, right? Again, I should only speak for myself. I shouldn't speak for other people. I do this because I want to get big, because I want to be recognized, right? That's the way that you should look at it, is my main point. Not because you just want to have a lot of subscribers. What good is a big enough number if you look back at what you've made and you have not made anything worthwhile? You could you could shit in a box for a 30-second video and get 2 million views or whatever. Does that really fulfill you artistically? Does it really add to your human being at all? You've made a video of you shitting in a box and you've gotten 2 million views and let's say 100,000 subscribers or something like that? No. It doesn't. And if it does, I'm going to go make a video of me shitting in a box so I can get my 2 million views, my subscribers, and my artistic satisfaction. So, in conclusion here, we've talked about Skyrim and how I've used it as this sort of essence. No, what am I saying? I used it as a medium of trying to get famous. And I wasn't thinking about the process, I was worried about the results. That's my biggest point that I can come up with for today. Worry about becoming better at what you're doing if you want to get big at something. Worry about improving yourself. That's a lot more fulfilling than just looking for bigger numbers than how many followers you have or whatnot. Worrying about that and trying to get 100,000 subscribers or 100,000 followers or whatnot, it doesn't make you a better person at the end of the day. What makes you a better person is knowing that you've improved yourself, even if it's just editing better, even if it's just learning comedic timing a little more, even if it's knowing that now you have to do thumbnails this way or whatnot. You're learning something from that. Not taking the easy way out and playing the same game over and over again like I was, with Skyrim. Trying to get as many people following me as possible. Not because I'm good at what I'm doing, but just because it was popular. I don't feel like I was super exciting playing that game. But I was just excited that people were, following me. I was getting bigger numbers, and numbers are not the way to go. People want more money, from working at things. That's another big draw on being famous. They want to get more money. And, that's your prerogative and everything, trying to get a lot of money so you can, live in a fancy house and whatnot. I feel like that's a problem just with our kind of economical upbringing, and let me spout out some more big words that don't make any sense. It's just, there's a lot of issues with this fame idea, but the big point that I've said before, and I'll say it once more before I conclude, is that It's all about getting better at what you're doing and focusing on the journey, not focusing on the end. Because when you focus on the end, you're missing all the fantastic bits in between. Because when I went back and I watched all my YouTube videos, and I had stopped doing YouTube because it was easier for me to get followers on Twitch. And when I went back and I watched YouTube, I went, God, I had so much fun editing and making those videos. Why did I stop? I stopped because it was easier. Just playing a game on Twitch took less effort. You know, I would stream for 8 hours. Yeah, hold on. So I would stream for, I would record for maybe an hour on YouTube, and then I would edit that down into 8 to 10 minute segments, and usually an hour would last me like 2 to 3 episodes. And the editing for each episode would probably take maybe 3 to 4 hours. So I would edit, and then I would have to upload it and do the thumbnails and everything. So the total work that I would do for one episode on YouTube was maybe 4 to 5 hours, I'd say. So it was 4 to 5 hours of work to get maybe, you know, especially when you're starting off, I would get maybe, I don't even know, not 10 views? I would put a lot of work into this and get 10 views, and that kind of hurts, because when you're working on stuff, you want people, and especially when you think that you're doing a good job, you want people to see what you're doing. But you have to get it out there is the problem, and that's a whole nother issue with how saturated the market is on specific things. You know, like I said, Let's Plays, there's a million of them. But when you think that you're doing a good job on stuff, and some of you can absolutely debate me and be like, what are you talking about? Your shit's horrible. And, you know, looking back at some of it, it is horrible. But the main point is, you're putting a lot of effort into something, and you're not getting a lot of recognition out of it. So, again, it's this balance of, I want to get recognition for something that I feel I'm doing good, and if I'm not getting it, well, it's defeating my purpose. But that's not the purpose, is to get recognition. The purpose is to get better. So I had put 4 to 5 hours of work into one YouTube video, get 10 views, or I can stream for 8 hours of Skyrim, and I can get, I could get donations for one thing, which is always good, making money off of a hobby that I love doing. And also, I would get a lot more followers, a lot less work. It's a lot less cerebral working on a streaming for 8 hours. You know, you're pretty much, you're playing a game and you're talking to people. And from what I hear, a lot of streamers don't really interact with chat that much. I try to interact with every single line if I can read it fast enough. So you can see, I was like water. I took the easy way out. I took the path of least resistance. I screwed up big time. No, I didn't screw up. I fell into the trap of going, this is the best way to get big as fast as possible. Not going, this is the best way for me to get better at making content. So now, I'm doing YouTube again, and I'm making podcasts. And this was the first one. It was quite a journey. Let's see, how far have we come? 43 minutes of me just flapping my fucking mouth gape. Jesus. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap up now. See? Ready for me to wrap up? Okay, yep, Skyrim. What a game. Fantastic game. Fame? Don't worry about it. Worry about getting better at what you're doing. And fame will come if you're good at anything. If you're not, fucking be a pleb like I am. If you guys want to leave comments or something, or just let me know how this is panning out, if you thought that the podcast was absolute garbage, I think I'm going to post this on Facebook. Not on Patreon? No, maybe it will go on Patreon. I think I'll make a new SoundCloud thing for this, and then I will post it everywhere. So it'll be on Facebook for you guys to listen to. It'll be on SoundCloud. I'll put it on the stream and everything. And I should make it so it's downloadable for you guys. Please leave comments. Let me know if you thought it was just absolute garbage and how I could improve it. I'm hoping that I can get people who can come on and talk to me. Friends, like I had mentioned at the very beginning of the stream. Friends, people from stream would be awesome. And then always leave comments and telling me maybe a game that I could cover or a topic that I could cover. I really don't care. I have a bunch of ideas, and I'm going to go over a lot of games. I have a bunch of ideas for games that I want to go over and topics, but please just leave comments and give me advice on how to improve and and games, especially ones that you're interested in. Like if you want me to do like My Little Pony Adventure Island or something like that, you could probably just go fuck off. But if that really interests you, I suppose you can leave a comment about that. I'm not going to take it. Okay, maybe I will. I don't know. I'd have to play the game. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed the first Hardcore podcast, and there will be more to come. So until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you around.